My people, I stand before you not with empty words, but with the truth of our struggle and the hope of our future. Today, Burkina Faso chooses dignity, strength, and partnership that will shape the destiny of our nation.
When China and Burkina Faso signed this new contract, it was not just another diplomatic event, it was a turning point in history. Burkina Faso has long dreamed of building a stronger, more independent nation, but the challenges of poverty, unstable electricity, and insecurity have slowed its progress. This agreement shines like a beacon of hope, promising to bring change that people can feel in their daily lives. For villagers who wait hours for power or families who worry about safety on the roads, the idea of new energy plants and stronger defense feels like a breath of fresh air. For China, the story is equally powerful. This deal represents more than just cooperation with a small African country. It symbolizes China's commitment to Africa as a whole. For decades, African nations looked mainly to Western powers for help, but many times they were left disappointed. China is showing that it can be a partner who not only promises but also delivers. By investing in Burkina Faso, China is also investing in its own global image as a reliable and practical partner. This is why the contract is being seen not as charity but as a step toward mutual growth. Still, we must pause and reflect on how historic this moment truly is. In 2018, Burkina Faso had restored its ties with China after years of diplomatic distance, and since then, cooperation has grown rapidly. Trade increased, projects started, and now this major contract proves that both sides are serious. The handshake between these two nations is not just about economics, it's about writing a story where Africa and Asia walk together into the future. The core of this contract lies in its projects. One of the biggest highlights is the solar power plant near Donsin Airport, supported by Chinese financing. Imagine an airport and surrounding communities powered by the sun, clean, renewable, and steady. For Burkina Faso, a country that often relies on importing electricity from neighbors, this plant means energy independence. It means hospitals that never lose power, schools that can use computers, and homes where children can study at night without candles. This one project can change daily life for thousands of families. Another key part of the deal is military support. Burkina Faso has been facing security threats from violent groups for years. People in villages often fear attacks, and soldiers sometimes lack the tools they need to protect the population. By supplying armored vehicles, rocket systems, and training, China is stepping in where other powers have pulled back. This does not just strengthen the Burkinabe army, it also boosts the confidence of ordinary citizens who want to believe that peace is possible. For many, this military cooperation is not about weapons, but about the feeling of safety that comes when their defenders are well equipped. But beyond energy and security, the contract signals a deeper partnership. It shows that China is not just investing in short-term projects, but committing to Burkina Faso's future. Roads, hospitals, schools, and digital infrastructure could be the next steps. Each project tells a story. A classroom where children learn better, a farmer whose crops reach markets faster, a business that thrives because of stable electricity. The deal is not only about materials, it is about lives. Burkina Faso is a proud nation with hard-working people, but its journey has not been easy. Being landlocked means it depends on neighbors for trade and imports. Frequent droughts affect farming, and unstable electricity slows industries. On top of that, ongoing violence has displaced communities, leaving many families struggling to rebuild their lives. In such conditions, every opportunity for growth becomes precious. That is why this contract with China matters so much. It offers a path forward when hope is needed the most. For the government of Burkina Faso, the deal is a chance to prove to its people that development is possible. Citizens have often felt left behind by leaders' promises, but visible results like solar energy powering homes or soldiers defending villages can rebuild trust. Leaders hope that by working with China, they can show that Burkina Faso is not isolated but connected to a powerful partner willing to help. In politics, trust is built not by words but by actions, and this agreement gives the government a chance to act. For the people, the benefits are more personal. A mother wants electricity so her child can study. A farmer wants better roads to carry goods to the market. A shopkeeper wants security so he can open his store without fear. These small dreams, when combined, become the big dream of a nation. The deal with China may not solve everything overnight, but it lights a spark of possibility in the hearts of Burkinabe people. China's interest in Burkina Faso is part of a much larger story. Across Africa, China has been building railways, roads, bridges, and power plants. Some call it a new Silk Road, connecting countries in ways that benefit trade and friendship. For China, Burkina Faso is one more important partner in West Africa, a region where stability and growth are essential for long-term success. The deal shows China's ability to step into places where Western countries have hesitated. Economically, China sees opportunities in Africa's growing markets. With young populations and rising demand for goods, Africa is the future of global trade. By helping Burkina Faso today, China is planting seeds that will bear fruit tomorrow, whether in the form of trade, investment, or resources. It is a long-term vision, not just a quick profit. This is why China calls its model a win-win partnership, because both sides stand to gain from the collaboration. Strategically, China also understands the importance of influence. By being present in Africa, China shows the world that it is not limited to Asia, but is a global power with reach and responsibility. Each project, each loan, and each handshake sends a message that China is willing to share its growth with others. For Burkina Faso, this means having a friend with global weight, and for China, it means shaping a multipolar world where partnerships matter more than dominance. One of the most exciting parts of this deal is the promise of new energy projects, especially the solar power plant near Donson Airport. For decades, Burkina Faso has struggled with energy shortages. In many villages, people live without electricity. Students use candles to study at night, and hospitals sometimes run on small, unreliable generators. The solar project offers something different. It promises steady, clean, renewable power. Imagine a hospital where surgeries are never interrupted by blackouts, or a school where lights shine bright even during exam season. This is more than just infrastructure. It is dignity, opportunity, and progress. The importance of energy cannot be overstated. Electricity is like the heartbeat of modern life. Without it, factories cannot produce, shops cannot stay open late, and technology cannot thrive. For Burkina Faso, which imports much of its power from neighboring countries, this solar plant means independence. No longer will the nation be forced to rely heavily on expensive imports that drain its economy. Instead, it can generate its own energy from the sun, a resource that shines abundantly over its land every day. This is not only smart economics, but also an environmentally friendly choice that shows Burkina Faso is thinking of the future. From China's perspective, this project is also a showcase. By building one of the largest solar projects in the region, China demonstrates its expertise in renewable energy. It sends a message to the world. China is not only a builder of roads and factories, but also a leader in green technology. For Chinese companies, the project creates opportunities to expand their influence and prove their capabilities. For Burkina Faso, it sets the stage for more such projects across the nation, inspiring others to believe that sustainable development is possible. If energy is the heartbeat of development, then security is the shield that protects it. Burkina Faso has faced years of instability due to violent extremist groups operating in the Sahel region. Entire communities have been displaced, and fear has spread across villages and cities alike. The government has struggled to protect its people because its military lacked the equipment and training necessary to confront these threats. With China now stepping in to provide vehicles, weapons, and support, there is new hope that safety can be restored. For the ordinary citizen, security is not about politics or military strategies. It is about daily life. It is the relief of being able to send children to school without fear of attack. It is the comfort of sleeping at night without worrying about raids. It is the courage of opening a shop, planting crops, or traveling to a nearby town without the shadow of violence. The Chinese support, therefore, goes beyond hardware. It touches the emotions of families who have long prayed for peace. Each armored vehicle or new piece of equipment represents not just power, but also the promise of stability. Still, security cooperation brings important questions. Can weapons alone bring peace, or must they be paired with dialogue, community rebuilding, and trust among people? Will Burkina Faso risk becoming too dependent on foreign powers for its protection? And how will the world react to China's growing role in African defense? These are not easy questions, but they highlight the complexity of security. For now, though, the partnership provides the Burkinabe people with a reason to hope that their long nights of fear may finally give way to mornings of safety. Beyond energy and security lies the heart of every deal, the economy. Burkina Faso is a nation with enormous potential, blessed with natural resources like gold and cotton. Yet much of this potential remains untapped due to weak infrastructure, low investment, and unstable markets. The new contract with China could change this equation. By building roads, power plants, and facilities, China is helping Burkina Faso create the conditions for growth. This means more jobs, better trade, and higher incomes for ordinary people. Consider the impact of a new road built under such cooperation. A farmer who once struggled to sell his harvest because the nearest market was days away can now reach it in hours. A small trader who once carried goods on foot can now transport them in trucks. A student who once had no internet connection can now access digital education thanks to better infrastructure. These small transformations add up to an economic revolution. They may not happen overnight, but each project lays a brick on the path to national prosperity. For China, this economic dream is also practical. African nations like Burkina Faso represent new markets for Chinese goods, new investment opportunities, and long-term strategic allies. By helping Burkina Faso grow, China also ensures its own place in the region's economic future. It is a partnership based on need and supply, but also on vision. The dream is that one day Burkina Faso will stand as an example of how international cooperation can lift a country from struggle to success. Every international agreement rests on one invisible foundation: trust. Without trust, even the most ambitious contracts collapse into empty promises. For Burkina Faso and China, this trust is still being built. After all, relations were broken for many years before being restored in 2018. The decision to sign such a big contract today shows that both countries are willing to look forward rather than backward. They are choosing to believe in each other's intentions. Trust, however, is not built in a single day. It grows through actions, through the visible results of projects and the sincerity of leaders. If the solar plant is completed on time, if the military equipment is effective, if ordinary people see improvements in their lives, then trust will deepen. But if promises remain on paper or projects stall, doubt will return quickly. For the people of Burkina Faso, trust will come not from political speeches but from light in their homes, safety in their streets, and opportunities for their children. China also has much at stake. Its reputation in Africa depends on being seen as a partner who delivers without exploitation. If Burkina Faso feels respected and supported, then other nations will follow with open arms. If not, skepticism will spread. That is why this contract is more than a business deal. It is a test of credibility for China's African strategy. Success here could open many more doors across the continent. Failure could close them just as quickly. The contract between China and Burkina Faso is more than ink on paper. It is a story of two nations choosing to believe in each other. For Burkina Faso, it is a step toward dignity, independence, and hope. For years, the people have faced hardships, dark nights without electricity, roads that cut them off from opportunities, and fear caused by insecurity. This agreement lights a spark in their hearts, showing that change is not only possible but already on its way. The solar plants, military support, and infrastructure projects are not just tools of development, they are promises of a brighter tomorrow. For China, this partnership is part of a much bigger vision. It shows that China does not want to limit itself to its own borders, but is ready to share its knowledge, technology, and resources with friends across the globe. By working with Burkina Faso, China strengthens its role in Africa and proves that cooperation can be based not only on words, but also on results. Each road built, each hospital powered, and each soldier protected will stand as a symbol of this growing friendship. In a world where alliances often break under pressure, this deal is a reminder that trust can still be built through action. The future will not be without challenges. There will be doubts, difficulties, and debates along the way. But if both nations remain committed, if promises turn into achievements, and if words turn into deeds, then this partnership can become a model for others to follow. Together, China and Burkina Faso have written the first chapter of a new story. It is a story of courage, trust, and possibility. And though the journey has just begun, the path ahead shines with hope, like the first light of dawn after a long and difficult night.